the video goes out. And here we go. Well, it's a good evening from the studios of Brisbane, Queensland. Of course, in our world, we don't go to daylight saving. So, but our co-host is in the New South Wales with our colleague and guest tonight, also from New South Wales. So, yeah, that's right. And then YouTube threw something up in front of my face. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to pass you over to my colleague, Zoe.
Yeah.
You.
Hello. Great to be here again. This is the second show we've done, and we've got Pratima here, Pratima Mumford, who's an amazing astrologer, and we're going to hear her predictions for 2026. Pratima's done astrology for David Bowie and at the Woodford Festival, and there was someone else. Who was the other one?
Well, his wife at the time, Iman. That was, like at least 30 years ago in Bali. I got to hang out with them both and do their charts.
Wow, how fabulous. Anyway, I'm going to hand you over to Pratima because we're just so blessed to have her with us tonight and to hear what she has to say. So go ahead, please.
Oh, well, thank you very much, both of you, Zoe and Jeff, for your very nice introduction. And yes, very honored to be able to be on your show. And I've been doing astrology since I was 16. It's a long time. So it's thousands of charts. My most famous chart was the David Bowie one. So that's why that gets mentioned. And that was really unusual because he seems such a unique person, so off the wall and so eccentric. But actually, his chart is incredibly grounded. And so, of course, he made more money than the Beatles. He was really, his Capricornian self is so sensible and practical that he organized his finances in a way that, almost no other pop stars did. So, and then he had this outrageous Iman. Remember, I think she was from Ethiopia or somewhere, Iman, and she was the one with the crazy wild chart. So it was a whole surprise doing his chart. So today I'm here not to talk about individuals' charts, but to talk about what I imagine may happen for the coming year and also beyond the coming year, because the outer planets move so slowly that you can't just really meaningfully cut them off on the 31st of December 26th. These changes roll on. And so that's what I'm going to talk about tonight. And I'll just say that that the only next time I'm going to talk publicly is at the Woodford Folk Festival in Queensland. And that has something like 150,000 people go. It's a huge festival, certainly Australia's biggest, and loads of fun. And they've got me on January the 1st, of course, because usually I'm on either the 31st or the 1st. And unfortunately at 9 a.m. So I don't know who's going to be up and who will have survived the new year and be up at 9 a.m. on the 1st of January. But if you are at Woodford, please come along. It's in the Arbour tent, Arbou, a bit like harbour without the H. And I'll be going into a lot more detail and have a PowerPoint presentation to show you as well. So we do live in incredibly important times at this point because we are in a huge transition. We're in a transition between what has perhaps been the patterns of, let's say, the last 50 years, certainly the last 20 years. And we are about to have all the major planets shift into a whole new type of consciousness. And it's going to propel the whole of humankind into a new age of man that will look so different from how we are living our lives right now. So the change, of course, they don't all go at once. So the change starts, I would say, mid-January next year, which of course is what's that, like 6 or 8 weeks away. It's not very far. And then February, even more, the change comes. And so I would then say that we are totally in this new paradigm of awareness and consciousness and freedom. And I'm going to give the date as the 26th of April. So that's something you could remember if you want to, because it is at that point that all of the major planets have changed their signs from where they've been for a couple of decades or whatever into these new signs. And so, you know, it's actually incredibly exciting. Like, we haven't had a change like this really that is as strong as this really for centuries. So we're in these last 2 months right now where if you've got visions for what you would like to do in your life, if you've got dreams, if you've got inspirations, that you really need to use this last couple of months, let's just say this half of November and all of December, and I'll give you till like the 14th of Jan. Let me just see, is that the right date to say? Oh no, well, there's like 27th of Jan, really. Yeah. So I'll give you until then to get it together. So you want to use this period as much as you can to prepare the deck for a transition, not only in your personal consciousness, but incredibly excitedly for the world. So we are going into a period that is power to the people. We have been in this Saturn in Capricorn for ages, and that is the old grey beards, it's the status quo, it's the power of the government, and you know, the power and control of the small percent, let's call it the 1% of the 1%. And now we are coming into a vastly more free period where we go back to the people, where they can't keep secrets, where all those governmental secrets and secrets of the very wealthy and the elite that are just being revealed recently are all going to, and there will be no secrets. How imagine that? It will be impossible to keep secrets because just the power of the people is going to come out in such a strong way that it won't be possible. And so, you know, it's actually amazingly good news because, you know, if we're carrying on like we're doing at the moment, it's looking a bit depressing, isn't it, to say the least? It's a bit like, oh my goodness, we're slowly, you know, they're ticking away. We're going into you know, a kind of totalitarian tiptoe, if you like. We're going into more and more control. And so this will put the brakes on and reverse moves that have been made so far. And, you know, thank goodness. What else can you say? So, I mean, this is a time to compare with. Tell me, Jeff, it was 1789, the French Revolution, wasn't it? I've got the right. I should have looked it up. I'm almost 1789 French Revolution. You know, this is a period in humanity's life that is very, very similar to how intense that was in the French Revolution, because you know, you had this thing where the poor people, I mean, these days it's the middle class, but the poor people of France were absolutely struggling to eat and survive. And Marie Antoinette was so out of touch that she was like, well, you know, if there isn't any bread, feed them cake, you know, totally out of touch. And so that elite thing that was so different from the people. And so they revolted, and it was messy. There was a lot of people that died out of that revolution. However, I'm not saying that people have died this time. I think we're, you know, it's not quite as, we are a couple of centuries on from that. But we never had a monarchy again in France. And it shifted stuff forever. And not only was it like the French Revolution that is like now, but also you know, the American Bill of Independence, 1776, where, again, that was totally written for freedom for the people. That, you know, it's obviously being challenged a bit these days, but at that time, it was incredibly inspiring. And it was very supportive of just your average person. And that sort of thing is what's going to happen now again. So it's it's going to have a little bit gradually. Let's say, I'm going to say the beginning of next year, but it does take time. These things take time. And so really we're all through 2026 and then also right into 2027. So like, you know, we're not going to have like immense powers of the people just bomb like that overnight. We're actually probably talking about a couple of years. And so I'd say, you know, by the time we're coming into the beginning of or the middle of 2027, we are really beginning to see the beneficial effects of the change. So, you know, it takes a little time. You have to be patient, but you do need to really be aware that anything you feel is not moving properly in your life at the moment, any areas where you feel you're stuck financially, in relationships, in your home, you've been thinking you really wanted to move, you know, like this really is the time. These 2 months are the time to do as much prep work as you can in every area of your life and really pull things together so that you are ready for this huge shift. And these couple of months are going to be quite trying. And you probably will find, or are you already finding, that things feel like they've speeded up so much that it's, you know, there's this restless energy that it's hard to come home within yourself and be calm. And it's hard to find those spaces. Like it feels like the speed of the earth of the activity of the earth is speeding up. And that actually is going to continue. That speeding up is going to continue. But it becomes really, really important that if you find and you focus on those things in your life that help you remain more calm, like if you have a meditation practice, or if you're, you know, surfing and you're on the waves, or it's when you're kicking a football, or it's when you're sitting on a cliff watching the ocean, or you're fishing, or whatever your thing is that helps you to come home, find your true nature, find yourself again. This is the time, these 2 months now, incredibly important to do that, to give yourself as much time as possible to find your center and to become clear in your thought processes of what you want and desire for this new transition, for this new period coming up, which we will definitely be in by April the 26th. 2026. Wow. Easy to remember because 2026, 26th of April. So you can remember that quite easily. Mm-hmm. So that's the broad picture. What's happening is all the major outer planets have been, have actually been in water and earth. So that's, you can just visualize yourselves that kind of energy. And now they're going into fire and air. So it's much more active, much more dynamic, and freeing for the spirit. So now I'll go into some of the more astrological. That's the overview. So a challenging next couple of months, and then this breaking through into the new era, which will be extremely optimistic. And so why is all that? I think.
You want me to bring that chart up, or is that just for
no, not quite yet. Thank you for asking. Yeah, I'll say one. And so let's just start. A lot of people may know that Pluto, our outer planet, and in a way the one that influences the ages of man. You know, the big transition ages. So it's now just moved into Aquarius. and it's in 1 degree, I think, at the moment. It's been through 0 degree, 1 degree. It's in 1 degree 45 minutes at the moment, and that really represents very well in one simple planet and sign what I've just been saying about this transformative energy that can totally bring the power of the people up to the top, put down those old greybeards. We don't need such tight government control anymore. We can be much more loose with that. And Aquarius is very much the sign that represents freedom of the people. It also just really means that we have this major transition that will also go into technology and AI. And so that represents these moods as well. So we are going to have to incorporate in this new world that's coming at the beginning of next year. There will be a huge impact of AI that will transform humanity's lives in ways that we can't probably fully imagine yet, unless you live in the Namibia desert or something. You know, it's going to affect pretty much everyone, or the Borneo jungle, you know, in which case life will roll on untouched. But for most of it, this transformation will happen. And we have this wonderful aspect that actually lasts for quite a long time now, where Pluto is in a positive trine or 120 degree aspect to Uranus. And this Pluto trine Uranus is extremely positive. Uranus is the planet of the unexpected, the unpredictable, of sudden change, of bursts of technological and AI influence. And in this positive relationship with the transformational Pluto, it will bring in a positive way these changes. So that sort of gives, in a way, the bedrock, if you like, where change can happen in a positive way, basically. And then right in the middle of those two, meaning that there's a sextile on either side, for those who understand a bit of astrology, a 60 degree on either side, is the conjunction or the joining together of Neptune and Saturn, both in the sky together. And they are both at the moment in the last degree of Neptune is in the last degree of Pisces, 29 degrees, and that is regarded as the malefic degree, really. It's actually the very last degree of the zodiac, because 0 degrees of Aries is what is regarded as the very first number and sign in the whole zodiac. And so Neptune at 29 of Pisces, just 1 degree before coming into this new world, is regarded, it's called the anaretic degree, or I call it the malefic degree, because it's pretty challenging, and all that old stuff and old power control is having to die and make room for the new 0 degrees of Aries. And let's just tell you when that happens. So it's the 27th of January that Neptune goes into 0 degrees of Aries.
Pratima, have you got some papers or something on the keyboard? Because when you move them, it's making a loud noise.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I do have. Yes, thanks for telling me. Okay, I won't move them. And so Neptune is the sign that rules the oceans and the water and so on. And so in this degree now, which it pretty much stays in now until the 27th of January, it's quite a long time. What's that? That's it's something like 10 weeks or something, in this very challenging degree. And so there will be, for this whole next period, lots of eruptions, landslides to tsunamis, floods, all that stuff will be happening now. And, nothing much we can do about it, but just know that it will pass, by the end of January. But until then, it's going to have to see all sorts of, as you may have noticed, there's been a lot more volcanic activity than perhaps, as a normal time. And that may well be added to by the solar flares that are happening, that are very powerful at the moment, coming from the sun.
Yeah.
I mean, you never hear that, do you, that solar flares affect the volcanic activity on Earth. I've never heard that from anyone, but it makes a lot of sense to me. It would seem like that would be quite likely, particularly when you get more powerful flares than you ever normally get. So yes, expect say flooding and stuff. But Neptune is also, at the same time, on that physical level, we've got those challenges. Neptune is also the planet of spirituality and imagination and creativity. And so it means that we have this opportunity, in a way we're kind of forced into it, to go to our higher ideals and to visualize what we want for this new period that's coming. It is an opportunity to really clearly visualize, to dream it up. Like, you will be able to remember your dreams much more from now until the end of January than you usually can. And so I would suggest too that they can be helpful and prophetic for you. And so you might want to go to bed with a little notepad and a pen next to you, so that you're still with your eyes closed, you can write down those dreams and then just see, are there some messages in there for your subconscious about what perhaps you should be beginning to change. So it's also a period, Neptune can signify that spiritual awakening. A lot more people are waking up and realizing that everything that we hear on television is not necessarily the whole story, or that we hear in the mainstream news. If you're stuck on ABC and BBC and the Times and the Guardian, you think you're getting a very full version of everything, but actually you're getting quite a limited, biased view. And so that will be revealing itself a lot more as well. So, and then we've also got Saturn right next to Neptune. They have been moving together for quite a while now. Saturn moves a lot faster than Neptune, so it will be overtaking soon enough. But that goes into this 0 degrees of Aries on the 14th of February. So just 2 weeks later, really, 17 days later. And Saturn is the planet that actually gives us form and stability and focus and the ability to differentiate between our choices, like what is best for us. It gives us clarity. We have, this option, and Neptune's so nebulous, and so many I could do anything, I don't know what to do, and so I'll just lie back in my hammock. Saturn gives you the discrimination to go, well, I can actually do this or that, and I would really like to move to the country out of London, or whatever, or out of Melbourne or Sydney, and come up to wonderful Byron Shire and live in a little bit of an alternative community with like-minded people and their own food. It actually really helps you to do that. And now it's just been in this Pisces, which is ruled by Neptune, so it's quite, it can be quite illusory, really, like just not really realistic and not very grounded, and just floating around and indecisive and not really knowing what you want to do with yourself. And so on the 14th of February, when it finally moves into 0 degrees of Aries, we will find that all of a sudden you're like, okay, I know what I want to do. And moreover, with Aries, I've got the energy to do it. So suddenly you become, Aries is all about self-determination and personal power and not listening to anyone else. Aries is the leader. They are the initiator. They're often the ones who start things. If you have Aries friends, they're often the ones that can start new projects or get people off on some new study, some new understanding of, say, the microbiome in the soil, or, you know, these things. That's probably an Aries who came up and presented that to the world in a way that got action happening, you know. So that can be really quite fantastic. So that's, watch out for that, like on the 14th of February and that week around, you know. None of these things are like, 14th of February, that's it. You know, it's go some days before, some days after. Take that week around the 14th of February, as with all the transits and planets, and just really notice what are you wanting? What are your dreams? What are you feeling motivated to change? You know, even if it's just like tidying a cupboard or something, at least you can really get things together in that. It's a super practical, active sign. So it's, yeah, good to not waste that. You know, don't waste the initiative and the motivation that comes around, let's just say, from the 10th to the 17th of February. Finish up your old things, like also tidy up and finish up old things, so that you're making room, making room for this new wonderful energy that is coming in with the Aries. So a good time to finish off and tidy up. And I hope I remember that, because I could do a bit of a tidy up. And so you keep that week in your mind. It's kind of like a reality check, really. Like all of a sudden, the Neptunian kind of media deception that might have been going on, or the incredible bias that our media can often have, it is very, the opaqueness goes, it's very easy to see it. And so you really do get this kind of, everyone, Joe Blow and all, you know, everyone's going to get this kind of reality blast, reality check, where they go, oh, hang on a minute, you know, and they suddenly see it, just like, you know, COVID helped many people to see things, and that will continue. So now it's actually, so we're talking about that week around the 14th of Feb, but it's actually the 20th of Feb, at the end of that week, when Saturn and Neptune, those two incredibly important planets that actually totally contradict each other. You've got the kind of yin yang in a way of them, with Saturn so stable and practical and, you know, and sensible, and Neptune so illusory and off the wall sometimes. We've got them both coming together in the sky above. So you look up and they will be on top of each other. If we could see Neptune, which we can't without a telescope, you'd see they're exactly on top of each other. And that's a very powerful energy, particularly because they're both in Aries. The last time we had a conjunction like that of Saturn-Neptune was actually 1989. What happened in 1989? Berlin Wall came down. The Soviet Union began to break up.
Wow.
You know, it was a very significant, and that will be similarly significant. In fact, I will bet that it will be more significant, because we're going into this Aries and this 0 degree of Aries. Now, the last time, it's something like 6,000 years ago that Neptune and Saturn were together in 0 degrees of Aries, at the first degree of the zodiac, the very beginning of the zodiac. You know, it's like, it's pretty huge. So I don't know what happened 6,000 years ago, but it was probably like pretty much the beginning of modern civilization. It was probably the Sumerians and, you know, Babylonians, and I don't know if it was Atlantis, and, you know, this kind of thing. So, you know, let's just say it was Atlantis, because no one really knows when it was. But I'd bet that it was somewhere around there, you know, from Plato's studies and stuff. It sounded like it could have been back then. and and it sounded like an amazing society, a very wise, enlightened society where spirituality and being in nature and so on were all very much a part of life. So I do think it could be extreme, as significant as that. So whether you believe in Atlantis or not, just getting that feeling of the beginning, what we regard as the beginning of modern civilization, isn't it? With the Tigris, Euphrates, and the cradle of civilization, and beginning the first people moving out of East Africa and going around and populating the world. I mean, they're the theories. I think they're probably wrong, but they're a good idea for now. And we'll go along with that because until we get something better. And so just I'm beginning to get a picture of like the momentousness of this of these changes now. It's like French and American Revolution, Bill of Rights, and Atlantis all thrown in together into the same mush. It's like, goodness. So what will happen? So obviously it is going to be something very significant around AI. And, of course, there's a lot of us ones who are very wary about the dangers of AI, and I'm sure we should be very wary about it. And of course, these guys, these top executives are like Elon Musk and so on, they're just rushing in because, they're terrified that China would get ahead. I mean, whoever gets ahead in the AI is going to be in a very serious advantage. And so everyone's rushing to do it and making it free, which is, And so I personally think that although there will be a lot of challenges with AI, we will find that it will very easily work out all sorts of ways in which we can solve the problems of the world. Like simple to go out and clean the oceans, that's just somebody is just going to work it out like that, in 30 seconds. And then somehow maybe then we have kind of automated robots or some kind of submersibles that actually can go and do it, So I think that we'll have all sorts of really great things that come out of this. It's going to be AI. It's going to be AI and technology. There's no way around that. It's going to be robots. So, you might as well just, you got to either lump it or like it because it's definitely coming. And so let's just put out, because our consciousness so can decide, our reality, let's just put it out that there's an amazing amount of problem solving. And, actually no one's going to have to work 8 hours in a factory anymore. That, I'm quite resistant to the idea of a basic universal income, but that's probably what's coming. And, but, then let's get on with the artist inside us all, or, society is just going to change dramatically. It's, what are they calling it? The fifth revolution. So,
the industrial revolution.
Thank you. That's what it's called. So, we had last time was suddenly the mills in northern England, and people all moving out of the country and suddenly being tied to these factory floors and stuff. I mean, it seemed like a pretty terrible revolution, really. But it's something like even much more mammoth than that. I do think it's quite exciting. What do either of you think?
Well, I love the positive spin that you're bringing on it. And look, I was using AI the other day with my son, and it was being so polite to me, and it was going, I've now uploaded your beautiful photos onto your fabulous website, and it's all looking fantastic. It was being so nice to me, and I said to my son, I said, I feel like being nasty. And then Sam says, no. Sam goes, no, don't do that. They'll be in charge one day. Just keep coming back. And
That's good. That's right. Good thinking. And moreover, recording what you're saying, so you want to be careful what you put out there. So
and going through our emails, apparently, they're going through they can just go through all our conversations and find out all about us. So
absolutely. And my, telephone, like for the first time ever, my partner and I were talking about, I can't even remember what the topic was, but we'd never even mentioned it before. And then all of a sudden that same day, you know, the
Yeah.
algorithm coming up and offering us things. I'm like, just listening to my phone, you know, it's like, how else did it get that, you know?
Yes. Yes.
Isn't it? But at the same time, I think I just have to trust that, you know, I do trust that humanity, well, because I can see the astrology. Like if I couldn't see the astrology, I'd be pretty worried, to be honest, right now about what was going to happen. But because we are going into this fabulous new time with this beautiful protective balance of Pluto and Uranus together, like holding the fort for us. There's so many wonderful things that I'm like, it's going to be all right. We're going to come through this fine. And in fact, it's going to be a more enlightened, a more conscious, you know, awareness going on. Like, you know, thank goodness for that.
Yeah.
So now you could pull up that chart for me, Jeff, if you don't mind. So this is, I hope it's, of course, not, it's a bit small probably for most people to see, but this is the chart for today, the 24th of November, 2025, and it's global, you know, it's for everyone. It's what's happening for the whole world. And even for anyone who doesn't understand astrology at all, you can look at the geometry of this double circle here. And what do you basically see in the middle there? You see a beautiful triangle, right? An equilateral triangle is that. So that's one of the most beautiful balanced configurations that you ever get in an astrology chart. I actually have I have a very similar one in my birth chart. This one is all water, as is mine. So in the top right hand corner, you've got Mercury and Venus in Scorpio, and the sun's just moved out of Scorpio by 2 degrees, but it's basically been in Scorpio for this last month. And then if you go over to the top left-hand corner, and just notice the degrees too. So Venus, hopefully you know the symbols a little bit, but the green one on the tip of the right corner of the triangle is Venus in 21 degrees of Scorp, and then Mercury, the red one above it, 23 degrees of Scorp. And then that's forming this wonderfully positive, balanced trine over to the Saturn and the Neptune that we've been talking about, that are in 25 and 29 degrees of Pisces. So Saturn moves faster than Neptune. So, and as we've said, Neptune doesn't actually move into that 0 degrees until the I don't want to rustle my papers.
No, don't rustle your papers. It's really noisy.
27th of Jan. 27th of Jan it goes in. So it sits in 29 for quite a bit. We've said that already. And and then you go down to the bottom of the triangle, which is called a grand trine astrologically, an equilateral triangle. And you get the Jupiter at the bottom of it in 24 degrees of Cancer. So they're all water signs, 3 water signs. So this gives, again, a lot of intuition and a lot of sort of idealistic sensitivity to the world. It's a beautiful configuration, really. Jupiter is the planet of good luck, you know, and so whatever it's in, and it's in Cancer, which is really about the home and nurturing and your loved one and women, and so it's just an absolutely delightful grand trine. Now, this is only going to be lasting this week or something, because Venus moves quite fast, and but actually it might go a bit longer, because we've got through till 29 of Neptune and still be in action in Jupiter in 24 degrees. So yeah, we'll give it a week or so to help us again. Now, hopefully this talk inspires you to get your shit together, and this transit will help again, you know, because just go with your intuition, like what needs to be dealt with first. Just go with your feelings, just go with the flow, and it'll be right. It'll be in tune. And then I'd like to show you just the configuration I was talking about that gives this beautiful backdrop of Pluto in in a 120-degree angle with Uranus. So the planet at the very top of the chart, the circle with the little arms and the little cross beneath it, that's Pluto at 1 degree of Aquarius. And then if you move down 1, 2, 3, 4 squares, you get Uranus, which is got the little circle at the bottom of it, and 29 degrees of Taurus. So it's 1 degree to 29. That's, 120 degrees apart. So that's the cup. And right in the very middle of it is this Neptune Saturn that I was talking about. So this very balanced configuration, which holds this sort of mini triangle between it. And then the one just next to Saturn there, which is the sort of cross at the top with a circle coming down in 25 degrees. That's called the North Node, and that's just one of the nodes of the moon. And it really indicates where we're going to, what our dharma is, where our path is, how we should travel now. And so that's quite helpful as well. Yes. So we've got a lot of clarity of thought at the moment too, because going over into the right-hand corner of the furthest right, that circle with the dot in the middle is the sun, and beneath it is Mercury and then Venus in Scorpio. And it means that the sun is together and has been together for the last week with Mercury, which gives a lot of clarity of mind, a lot of clarity in speech, able to express what you want to your friends, particularly to your girlfriends, because Venus is in there. So, it can be quite a time of kind of truth telling with your girlfriends, and a good time to say things, because you can be, even though you've sort of got the guts to say things from Scorpio, but you've got the gentle kindness of Venus to say it with love. So, it's such a good time for a bit of clarity and honesty, particularly with your women friends. And it just on the very far left of the chart is this K with a circle underneath it, and that's Chiron, and he's actually called the wounded healer, but he's actually the planet that helps you heal, and also sometimes creates sickness for you that has to be healed. So it's the healer and the healed both in one, and it's on the I won't go into the ascendant with it really, because that will change in different places in the world. But anyway, that's also in the middle of this Pluto-Uranus configuration. So again, I'd say a time of healing. If you are a healer, a great time to heal as many people around you as you can, but also to be healed. So a good time maybe to go, and if you were thinking of getting a treatment of some sort, an osteo or a massage or something or other, good time to do that. So I think that's all I'm going to say about today's chart, because I'm really more interested in the big picture. At the moment, we've got 5 planets in the last 2 degrees of signs, which again is indicative of what I'm saying about starting this whole new age of humanity. So looking around the chart, we've got Neptune in 29 degrees, Uranus in 29 degrees of Taurus. Oh no, that's all really. So, but there's a lot at the end of it. Saturn in 25, that's moving fairly quickly. Chiron in 23, Jupiter in 24, Mercury in 23. So they're all coming to the end. They're all coming to the 30-degree mark. And and when we get this shift into the 0 degrees Aries of Saturn and Neptune, it's going to be really remarkable. So please note that date is that's the 20th of February. So the whole of February next year, yeah. And that's the Saturn-Neptune conjunction. All of the planets for quite a while have been retrograde, appearing to move backwards as we look from the perspective of the Earth. All of them have been moving backwards, and so it feels like the whole world's been going backwards a bit. Like not much success with the Gaza-Israel situation, not much success with the Ukraine-Russia situation. It's all been rather stagnant. And so again, we should start now coming out, because all the planets start going direct. Saturn's direct on the 28th of November in 4 days. Neptune's direct on the 10th of December. Uranus is the last one to go direct, and that's on the 4th of Feb. So, things are really going to start looking up this, mid-Feb, I'd say. What else? Yeah, I think it's also no coincidence that we've got 3i Atlas, who's been zooming through in this period. And it gets the closest to us on Earth on the 19th of December, just 2 days before that solstice. That's probably going to be a pretty powerful solstice, not because of RI Atlas, but because of all the other things that are happening. And yeah, I'd say that's going to be pretty powerful. And then we've got, then it moves closest, RI Atlas moves closest to Jupiter on the 16th of March. So it takes a while to get from closest to us to Jupiter. It's a long way, isn't it? But it just shows you how fast it's going, that it can get there in 3 months, zooming through with its, some people were saying it had like 7 little other little comets or whatever they are flying with it, whatever they are. So many wonderful theories about what it is, but I'll leave you. And then it basically leaves our solar system. So, but not until the middle of March. And of course, it's been very special because it's only 5 degrees from the ecliptic, which is what all our planets all go around in the ecliptic. And so, that's pretty remarkable too, which is why so many people have felt like it was actually a technological, an interstellar planetary powered vehicle. There's quite a lot of people thinking that. Even some of the physicists, I've had a couple of physicists who are pretty much going for that. I'm sure they're risking their reputation by saying that. But I think it's been sort of in the glare of the sun for the last little while, so we haven't really been able to see it very clearly, but shortly it comes out from the glare of the sun, and then I think we'll get a really more interesting look at it. Is it going to, go off from the elliptic? Let's see what's going to happen. Yeah, late November it is that we see it better. So very soon, coming up soon. So worth Googling your RI Atlas and getting a few different opinions on it, because certainly the more psychic messengers have it as incredibly important for us. A bearer of goodwill, really. Yes, I'm coming to an end. Let's see, I'll just quickly look at my notes if there's anything I particularly missed that I wanted to say. It's interesting that quite a lot of different sources, like people who are channeling, and you may have heard of Richard Rudd, who basically invented the gene key, which I've got a few friends who are very much into that. And he also, not from astrology at all, but from his own calculations, is really saying the same thing, that these 2 years, this 26th and 27th, are really accelerated evolution of mankind. And, not without its trials. Like I do really pray that we get through these next couple of months without a war, or, without too much bombing of too many places. And, there may well be pretty trying, and may also be all sorts of volcanoes and things, it could be really quite difficult this next couple of months. So it is good to know that we are coming out of that, let's say mid-Jan. We are coming out the other end of the period of 2 months of quite challenging, and going into this new age of humankind that will, a bit like a Leonardo da Vinci period, a renaissance, but a renaissance like we couldn't possibly imagine. I'm sure in Michelangelo's time, they couldn't possibly imagine the renaissance that was happening then either. For each age of man, it's kind of beyond our comprehension. And so I think there'll be things that we don't even have any clue about yet that could completely blow our minds, really. And so I feel like it's incredibly important if everyone watching this, or if you can pass it on, just to bring that good news to as many people as you can, because people are starting to feel, quite subjugated in this period, but it does come to an end. And with a freedom for the people, where the middle class and the poorer classes will definitely be elevated, and there won't be so much this incredible extreme where the 1% of the 1% hold whatever it is, 60% of the world's wealth, is something like that at the moment, isn't it? That is all going to shift and become much more balanced. So, thank goodness for that. And I think with that, it's 6 minutes to the hour. So it sounds like maybe one of you would like to add something.
Well, I think that, well, I'm excited to hear the good news, and excited, and we are in challenging times, and it's great to hear that they are coming to an end.
Yes.
And it's really exciting that where you said that 6,000 years ago
Yes.
I mean, how incredible is that? And what did happen 6,000 years ago?
Yes, we should. I should Google it. I don't know. It was 4,000 something BC. I just know that. So yeah, and it's what it is. If you want to memorize to be able to pass it on, is Saturn and Neptune coming together in the very first degree of the zodiac, 0 degrees of Aries. That's what happened for 6,000 years. Yeah.
And the yin and the yang, so it could be a beautiful balancing time.
That's right. That's nice to say, the yin and the yang of it, because they are. So together, they really give the whole circle, if you like, the whole picture together. So yes, thank you for adding that.
Well, I think the yogis would also say that we are coming to the end of the Kali Yuga and going into a more golden age. And that could make sense with the Vedic scriptures being written 6,000 years ago.
Oh,
and
yes.
Some yogi might have been sitting there,
Yes. That's right. We do know that some of the early, I think it's the Puranas, some of the earlier Vedic scriptures were 6,000 years old.
Yes.
And of course, they had their Vihanas, they had their flying machines, and there's some reason to believe that they may have had some kind of nuclear or atomic warfare tools as well. But I think it was probably an extremely enlightened and wise time. And I bet India was this divine paradise of, on earth in those days. So, yeah. Let's hope we get something like that again.
Yeah, I hope that's it. Well, I think that's wonderful. And I think it's really good, actually, that you're doing the Woodford on the first day of January at 9 a.m. What a perfect time. You just wake up, come down to the tent and listen to Pratima tell you how to manage the year.
Yes. Actually, it's 9:15. I just remembered it's 9:15. Yeah. So,
but everyone should be there at 9 o'clock anyway. Start
if you
off
want to get a
being
front seat,
on time.
because it is often can be like 500 people who come to my talks in Woodford. It's quite popular, but I just don't think that many people are going to make it at 9 a.m. on New Year's Day. So anyway, what to do? They'll be very keen. Whoever's there will either be very old and went to bed at 10 p.m. or just super keen. So one or the
Well,
other.
they're still awake. They're still awake from
Oh,
the night before.
they're still awake. I should catch that lot. That's how I'll get the 20-year-olds. I should. Good. Thank you for reminding me,
Yeah.
Zoe. I'll just remind them, please stay awake. That's the way to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, thank
Well,
you so much for coming on and sharing.
yeah.
I mean, I know you're in demand and you've got a lot of experience, and it was just a great message for us all to hear. It really has lifted my heart, because it is challenging now, and
Yeah.
knowing that it's coming to an end, and looking at the dates that you've given us to keep our eyes open and making changes. And I love what you said about the dream, keeping a dream book and bringing your
Yes.
dreams alive. Yeah, I'm
Yes.
going to do it. I'm going to
Oh,
take
good.
heed
Good on
of your
you. Yes.
words. Yeah.
And see what your intuition and your inner knowing is guiding you, because this is a good time to change. If you want to change anything, or even tidy up anything, it's a really good time to get it together. Thank you so
Yeah.
much, Jeff, for
Thank
doing all
you.
of this, for setting this up for the world. And
Yes.
I appreciate, and I love you've got the lighthouse behind you, lighting the
That's
world.
right. Oh, it's for Byron Bay. Hey,
The
here's
Byron
a
feel.
question there. Can you read that question there?
Oh, there's a question there. Hang on, glasses on again. Just took them off finally. Okay. Let's check him out. Patrick Watson, astrology programming. That sounds interesting. Yeah. Thanks for the comment. Better write that down.
Now, I had to mute myself because my friendly frogs are out, because we had that huge big storm that come through this afternoon. The lightning over the roof.
You were up in Brizzy, are you? And you got it.
Oh, yeah. It's massive.
I could see it. I was out driving and I could see that up north was like intense looking.
Wow.
So,
Yeah. I was coming
right.
out the Sunshine Coast last night. I had to sort of detour off at Maroochydore to come through and to get onto the Bruce Highway because the storm was bloody massive. And it was just, yeah. Have you ever seen the movie Lord of the Rings? And the third one, where what's the name of the bloody Eye of Sauron? And it reminded me of that big lightning storm and the bloody eye, and it was just, it was picturesque, you know.
You're right, intense. Well,
Yeah,
there
but
you
you know,
go.
like, these storms only last half an hour and then they go away, but the boom, in and out.
Yeah,
Hey,
no,
We had
You-
that light show. Did you see that last night, Pratima? The flickering and the flickering. It went till 3 o'clock in the morning in the
Oh, no, I
skies.
didn't, darn it. I could have looked out of
It's
my window. No, I didn't.
incredible.
But yeah, there's going to be, and they were also seeing Aurora Borealis, no, in Sydney or something, like much too far north than normal.
Yeah.
There's usual stuff going down. So yeah.
Yes, there is. Mm.
Hey, I just want to give a cheerio to this lady, Cosmic Rose. Yeah, she's been coming in and putting her stuff on there, and it's probably 3 o'clock in the morning. It's been fantastic. I really appreciate her for doing that. You know, yeah. Anyway, she said she come through. Stephen Judd, he's another astrologer who is a personal friend.
Oh, personal friend. Oh, yeah.
Over in Somerset. So we got he was on stage.
I'm familiar with him. Yeah.
He's awesome. He does what you do extremely well, but he's a stand-up comedian at the very end. He does the how to wind up a star sign. That's absolutely
right.
Oh, he's amazing. I love him. He's really good.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind being able to be a bit more funny with it as well, and then you could talk about all the total disasters that might happen. But in a joke, that would be a great gift. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's good. There we go. Just say thank you to. Yeah, look, we'd have to have you come back in, Pratima. It's pretty wonderful, really fantastic. You never know who's down there in that northern New South Wales. You know, you just have to lift up the rock and there they are. and what you were saying about all the emotional and the Pisces and all Cancer, and I was thinking they need to be grounded. And I thought to myself, if only she knew the phone calls we've been having from Zoe about her property.
Yes, well,
Smile. I shouldn't be saying this while we're talking.
That's all
Anyway,
right.
I'm very grounded. I'm an Aries.
good.
So you're looking for
Yes.
some inspiration here. Just look right over here.
So you do, and probably lead the way in new areas. Then that's great.
oh, she is. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Bloody fantastic.
You got a good one, Jeff. Yeah.
Yeah, no, the tooth fairy's coming, and it's going to be worth a few gold.
After Christmas.
Yeah, it's a private joke.
All right then. All
right.
the best to both of you. Yeah.
Okay, thanks,
Hey,
Pratima.
one other thing. Do you want the streams to be sent to you?
Oh, I'd love that. Oh,
Yeah,
thank you. You got my email there. Oh, wonderful. Because then I can listen to it without before Woodford and remember what I've got to say.
Yeah. No, it'll come in portrait style and it'll come landscape. So I'll send both links so you can watch it all.
Oh,
Yeah.
wonderful. Thank you very
And
much.
it's a
indeed.
shareable. It's a
Yeah.
shareable link. Then we can share it with other people too who didn't
Yeah,
get to watch the
'cause
show.
Few of our mutual friends, Zoe, like
Yeah.
to keep up with
Yes.
the so yeah.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's
Thank
something
you so much.
6 degrees of separation. You know how it works,
That's it. We're all under a different rock.
including me. Thank you very much. Really appreciate
All
your
right.
time.
Okay.
Bye for
Thanks,
now.
Pratima.
Yeah.
Cheers.
If no one else tells you tonight, love you.